Azure Lime is Tom Ford's reply to the typical EDC, the cologne genre, the classic citrus fragrances in the men's game. Let's see how he does with this one. What's going on, YouTube fragrance family? Welcome to another Robes 08 fragrance review. Today I'm going to put my nose on the house of Tom Ford, one of his freshies from the private blend line called Azure Lime. Azure Lime hit the shelves in 2010. Bottle size are 1.7 ounce, which is the one you see here, and the 8.4 ounce flacon. Concentrations eau de parfum and pricing, retail American, you're looking at $298, basically $300, or right up to $650 for the flacon. Of course, discounters may have this. Now let's take a look at the nose behind Azure Lime. It's actually the noses. There's three noses behind this fragrance. Every time I see, online that a particular fragrance or a project fragrance has multiple noses behind it, usually that means a failed project, a project that isn't it's just not getting done. Tom Ford, we all know, has excellent taste in fragrances, and maybe this is the reason why we had multiple noses. Two of the noses are well recognized in our fragrance journey. This is Antoine Lai and the Rodrigo Flores Rue, which is known for John Varvatos fragrances. And of course the third one, Ellen Molnar. So Antoine is probably the all-star nose in these three that I absolutely love Antoine's work. Yeah, three noses applied to Azure Lime. So let's take a look at the note breakdown of this fragrance. Now, in the introduction, we got citruses, mostly lime. We got orange, lemon. We also have mint and basil. In the middle, we got some florals, woods, jasmine, neroli, violet leaves. And in the base, we have some musk, sandalwood, and patchouli. Major notes to this nose right here would have to be the lime. The citruses play a huge part in Azure Lime, of course. The musk is huge in this one. The neroli, big backbone in this fragrance too. Group this is a citrus aromatic fragrance. It is a freshie, a typical freshie. And how many sprays and where? So my application for Azure Lime, I do my usual on the chest, 3 on the neck, so 1 in the back. Usually when I do 3, I go 1 here, 1 on each side, and then I go 4 on the arms. I do wear this like a typical EDC fragrance, than an EDP, which is what this is. So I go very liberal, as you can tell. I probably won't go 4, but you get it. I'm going to put 2 here, and then I would put 2 more here on my pulse points. And of course, I'm going to put 1 on my hand once I'm ready to dissect this sucker. So let's get to that segment. Now, what you're here for is, of course, what does this smell like? Through my testing, Azure Lime was one of the least interesting Tom Ford private blend in my whole collection. I own more than a dozen. I would say probably around 14, 15 of them. I don't have the whole collection, but pretty darn close. I got a good amount of Tom Ford private blends. I'm a big fan of the private blend line, mostly in the darker stuff. The Amber Absolutes, the Tobacco Venice, the Tuscan Leathers of the world, Japon Noir. Can't forget about Japon Noir. But a lot of great darker fragrances. Not a fan of his freshies. The only one that I really liked, again, I haven't tried out his newest freshies, but Neroli Portofino, big fan of that. Azure Lime, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to go through the railroad tracks. And what do I mean by that is I'm going to run it over and I'm going to step on it. And I am going to tell you the God honest truth as far as a Tom Ford private blend pricing. You better come with it because the darker juices do. For the most case, of course, it's all subjective. But this guy right here, let's reapply this sucker. It's already on its second leg here. So let's delve into it. And I gotta be honest. It's got a good introduction. It really does. Anybody that has smelt Azure Limes, gotta love this introduction. Citrus is so easy to love, especially made well balanced, well blended. This is beautiful. Immediately you get hit with that sharp, fresh lime note. That's what my nose just goes, whoop, lime. Which honestly on its own, standout. Almost sells me this scent already with that lime note. After that, yes, it starts off very citrusy. So a lot of these other citruses start joining the show. Fresh, clean, and it will continue on the fresh, clean side of things for a while. It will continue on this theme with a pinch of depth going through more into the dry down. So it has a little bit of depth to it. A lot of fresh scents are not like simple aquatic citruses. They do have some depth to them. This one, of course, does. After a few minutes on my skin, the lime is joined by the bucket full of citruses that surround it. Mostly what I get here, I can go through all the citruses I'm getting, but mostly what I'm getting is that neroli coming through. That floral neroli orange starts popping. That orange starts popping almost immediately after. Once the citruses meet the lime, those citruses aren't the best on the market. It seems like it wasn't... The lime was great, but the rest was not. I've smelt worse, but it's the start of the downturn to Azure Lime's, well, little fun game. And this is where I plop it onto a railroad track and I run it over and tell you how bad it is. This scent is not all about the citruses, of course. It starts giving out a little bit more depth. There's the basil here that gives it more of a peppery herbal kick to the fragrance. A little bit of spice here. Very nicely done. But let's get into more of the subtleness of this fragrance. What's going on in the background? Once that beautiful initial lime citrus is gone, what do I get? Well, I start receiving a subtle punch of woods here, some musk. Neroli starts being a little more of an influence on you on this scent, more into the mid, which starts throwing its barbershop soapy appeal that it usually does. The neroli is often compared to the neroli in the bestseller there, Neroli Portofino from the same brand. I can assure you it's not as big and as beautiful as Neroli Portofino as the neroli goes. It really is almost a shade of that. Still an okay neroli, but not a great neroli. A small healthy dose of violet leaves comes through, kind of course, giving the scent that green theme, that watery theme, but it throws its usual wet accord into the mix, and that's what kind of gives this fragrance a little bit of wetness to the fragrance. At this point, Azure Lime starts making me think that it's built like some higher-end designer scents. Because it does have a little bit of that depth. So I'm name dropping here, Chanel Allure Homme Sport, Dior Homme Sports of the world. No, they're not, they don't smell alike. That's not what I'm trying to say here. They are fresher scents with depth to them. If you've smelt the Chanel Allure Homme Sport, it really doesn't make me think of a sport fragrance. It does have some depth to it, but it has that freshness that you can dress it up. Dior Homme Sport, same thing. This is what this reminds me, in the same genre, same type of quality. I would say same, but the only thing, I'm not knocking on those scents saying that this one's bad. I'm knocking this scent more than anything because this is a $300 scent and those scents are usually $100 give or take. So still quality per se, but tough swallow with that price tag. Now in the dry down of Azure Lime, you start losing your lime, hence the spotlight on this fragrance. You lost me completely. This is where Azure Lime is just completely gone. My interest in this fragrance kind of lost me every single time. I gave it its fair shot, and you guys know I give fragrances their fair shot, but you continue to receive some of those citruses, faded, generic, warm, woody note that really reminds me of a lower grade or a higher grade designer scent that tries to throw in woods in a scent. That's what this feels like. Lots of white musk here, and that neroli, which completes that clean, soapy aspect of the scent to finish it off. Disappointing is all I can say about Azure Lime. It really had that promise, and I can see why people like this, and especially with the opening. It really doesn't have, how can I say, it doesn't interest me. After that burns off that lime, it's just gone. It's a neroli, but not a great neroli, and that's what I wanted from a Tom Ford. Neroli Portofino does the job. Definitely, instead of this one right here. So recommended age for Azure Lime. If you got the money, it can go from teens and up. Really, teenagers can wear this. It really does remind me of something like a Chanel Allure Sport or a Dior Homme Sport, just as the build goes. Not as scent, I just want to repeat that. But really, anybody can really wear it. Fragrances, what does this remind me of? It does remind me of Neroli Portofino, but not on the same playing field. Neroli Portofino is actually worth that money that you would spend. Eau Sauvage, Acqua di Parma type fragrances. 1861 from Xerjoff. It does have those qualities to the fragrance. Best time to wear this fragrance. Daily wear, work, very easy to wear, can be a signature scent for warmer climates. Seasons, mostly spring and summer. Development, is this linear, average, or complex? It's fairly average. I would have to say it's not very linear. You get that introduction that burns off. Once you start losing that lime and you get into the neroli phase of Azure lime with those woods and musk, it really starts just saying, it's done. It's just going to stay the same. So fairly average. Work appropriate, it could be, since it's easy to throw on. Signature scent worthy, I wouldn't personally. This is not signature scent for me, but I feel like it's missing personality for me, especially after that initial burn off. So for me, I wouldn't, but I could see it's fairly easy to wear. So let's get into my rating system. Let's take a look at it. Projection, 4 bottles out of 10. Fairly moderate to soft, fairly average to soft as far as the projection goes. It doesn't push too much. First couple hours, yeah, then it burns off quite a bit. And that goes to longevity, same thing, 4 bottles out of 10. Fairly low score here. 3 to 5 hours, that's a huge hit for a fragrance like this. I got some freshies from Tom Ford that can last. This is not one of them for me, at least. 3 to 5 hours is subpar for that type of pricing. Compliment factor, 3 out of 10. Again, fairly low. This fragrance doesn't attract too many people, even though it's fairly easy on the nose. This is one of those that I can just throw it on and forget about it. But 3 out of 10. Uniqueness, again, 3 out of 10. I really feel like it was targeting the genre that was really high selling at the time from the 2 big designer heads with Chanel and Allure, and of course Dior. This kind of like sport theme, but not really sporty. Kind of like clean, classy, but yet you put the name sport in it, kind of giving it an aquatic, citrusy type feel. Yeah, that's the genre that this is going for. Now looking at pricing versus what you get in that bottle. 2 bottles out of 10. You're not getting much for the price that you're paying, to be quite honest. You're paying for that lime note, which is great in the introduction. I'll be honest, completely honest. However, that is the only real redeeming quality. You don't get it for too long, and that the fragrance as a whole doesn't stay on your skin enough. And I felt like it was a little designer-ish for me. It didn't give me that oomph that I wanted from the private blends, that I get excited when I get a new Tom Ford fragrance in the mail. This one wasn't too much excitement on this end of the camera here. Versatility, 7 bottles out of 10. That's a high score. Of course, it's highly versatile. It's a citrus-based fragrance with, of course, some light woods and some musk here. So there's not much to it, which makes it highly versatile. That goes to smell. 4 bottles out of 10. Fairly low score. I expect more from Tom Ford private blends. Overall score, this gets a 4 bottles out of 10. So unfortunately for Azure Lime, it's not getting a great score here. There is some redeeming qualities. I like to give in my fragrance reviews, of course, the good and the bad. I don't want to just completely steamroll a fragrance and say how bad it is. As you can see from the score, I personally don't think it's worth the money they're asking. And that goes to buy, try, or pass. This is an easy pass from me. And that goes to my overall thinking of Azure Lime. What do I think about it? Overall, price plays a huge role here. It really does, and I've mentioned it several times during this review. There's no way I'd pay Tom Ford Private Blend retail pricing for this. None at all. Even at discounters, if you're getting private blends for discounts, there's probably at least a dozen of them in front of this guy that I would purchase. I need more, and Tom did not do it here for me. His fresh scents are less to be desired from me, and this is probably the worst of the bunch. Don't get me wrong, it's not a complete dud. This fragrance has some redeeming qualities. It does beat out many designer citruses, musky scents, but most of those are in the bargain bin at your local TJ Maxx. So again, you can get this kind of scent already for fairly cheap. It's too simple, it's boring, not close to being worthwhile as a Tom Ford private blend, and pricing yet again, oh, that pricing, it hurts. Good attributes are it's simple in composition. If you're looking for just a lime dominant scent, and this could be your daily workhorse, that won't offend. This is what I'm looking at it as. So I thank you for watching my review on Azure Lime. Not a favorable one. They can't always be. And remember, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Have a good one.